Laws are going to be democratized now, and people are all in panic. But that's because democracy hasn't yet gone to work yet. So if Texas has too narrow, if it's only 5 weeks or whatever, well, there'll be candidates that run on, first trimester, and democracy will change the way the abortion laws are, and they'll be more reflective of the overall state values. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that particular one plays out. And people will go to different states, or it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I believe it's a fundamental right up to a point, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, would you say it was a fundamental right up to the day before birth?
No, I mean, it's actually in the common law row, and then Planned Parenthood, it's like up to, the second trimester or viability or whatever, 15 weeks.
Where I stand on it is kind of women's right to choose until we have a viable fetus that it can live.
Right.
Then at some point it becomes murder.
Right.
But it's not in the first trimester because that's not a viable.
One of the things.
But that's not what's
here's a couple of two old men talking about abortion.
who's never going to be pregnant.
Well.
You serious?
But that's irrelevant for Giubilini and Minerva. Viability is also irrelevant. Viability is the ability to live outside the womb. But Giubilini and Minerva think that doesn't matter. And part of the reason it doesn't matter is think of conjoined twins. In many cases of conjoined twins, one twin depends on the other for continued existence. Viability is relevant to technology, it depends on technology, but that seems odd to say that your right to live depends on where you live and how rich you are and how much technology you have. It's also over-inclusive.
Some people say that men cannot pontificate or give their opinion on the ethics of abortion. So apart from whether or not that's true, why do you think that people give this argument so often?
Yeah, I mean, well, I certainly think there's an optics issue here, right? It looks better if you have, say, a woman arguing against abortion because abortion is something that affects the woman. But to more generally, I'd say that whether or not somebody's a man or a woman, what matters is just the argument, the merits of the thing in question. The truth value of a position doesn't depend on the sex of an individual, right? Suppose I made an argument, a really compelling argument against abortion. Why should the fact that I am a man completely invalidate what I've just said? Well, it would be strange to say that.
It's a type of ad hominem.
Yeah, it would be strange to say that if you replaced me with a woman and a woman said the exact same thing I said, that somehow her being a woman makes her opinion more legitimate.
Or makes the argument sound.
Yeah, I mean, so arguments don't have genders or sexes, right? It's about whether or not something is true. And whether or not something is true is a matter of whether or not, what you say corresponds to reality. And if it corresponds to reality, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman making it.
So you'd agree that there are no gender restrictions on the abortion debate?
Yeah, men absolutely. I mean, and it's kind of disingenuous to say that men have absolutely no say in the abortion debate. Because I mean, the unborn, half of the unborn comes from the man, from the male individual. So males have an interested, fathers have rights too. It's not just the right of the mother. And so in saying that abortion is just a woman's issue, well, hey, what about the rights of the father, right? So it's almost a kind of discrimination against men to say that men have no right. Well, of course men have rights to pontificate about abortion. They contributed half the genetic material for the unborn. So men have just as much a right as women to speak about abortion.